Hi friends, welcome to my channel. For those of you that are new here, my name is Katelyn and I like to film eyeshadow palette ranking and review videos, as well as the occasional other content sprinkled in. So if you like indie makeup, if you like eyeshadow palettes, if you like me, I highly recommend that you hit that subscribe button because I post videos at indeterminable frequency. For those of you that are not new here, my face is happy that you're seeing it in, and I have a hair in my lip gloss. Anyways, I wanted to start a series because I'm on a mission. I am on a mission to take my 215 palettes down to, my goal is 100. I'd like to get lower than that. I want like a perfect collection, but I also have a collector's mindset, so that feels difficult. But I would like to, my goal is to get to 100. So I think I'm gonna have to declutter in like spurts and kind of target different things. So what we're doing first is I'm going to be going through all the palettes that I have, and I'm going to pull out palettes where I love the shades, hate the packaging, or pull out palettes that I don't love the shades but love the packaging. And we're gonna plan to do some mixing and matching, and then I will hopefully be down some palettes at the end of that. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump right on into it. Okay, we're starting with this miscellaneous assortment of palettes. These are the palettes that I had in these bins that are in my vanity. So I'm either about to use them, have used it, whatever, doesn't matter. But what we're doing is we're sorting packaging. We're sorting by packaging. So what I want to know are palettes where I hate the packaging and palettes where I love the packaging, or I want to keep it. Let me clarify. We're going to do palettes where I hate the packaging. I'm going to pull those out. And then palettes where I would declutter if it were not for the packaging, and I'm going to pull those out, and then that's where I can go from there. So first up is the Floating Life palette. This is the collab between Cheery Up and Freya 86, I think. Anyways, absolutely stunning, gorgeous. I actually do really like this packaging. It's thin. I've used this palette once, but I'm going to use it again for my friend Mary's collab. Then we have the Adept Cosmetics Element 115. Love the palette, love the packaging, so we're good there. Then Viseart Paris Reverie Étendue. I really like this palette and this color story, and I think the Viseart packaging is really nice for traveling, so we're good. I actually might do all of my Viseart palettes in like their own moment once I can figure out, because I'm not opposed to swapping out some of these shades, so I actually think I will pull the Viseart palette out. Okay. And then we have the Too Faced Appley in Love. I do really like the packaging, and I'm not ready to tweak anything on this palette yet. I think it's, I might tweak the shimmers at some point, but this is the Melt Cosmetics Smoke Sessions 2. I actually already updated this palette, put in some other shimmers. I think when I did my review, I said that I wanted lighter shimmers in here, so I went ahead and did that. So this one's all ready to go. This is another Viseart. This is the Hesperides that my dogs ate. So this is one that I'll probably try and move these shades if I prefer these shades to other Viseart shades and like get rid of the packaging. This is Archeo. This is too new for me to feel ready to do anything with yet. I hate this palette. I don't hate the packaging, but I hate the palette. But I think this is like such a, like, what word am I looking for? Like hot commodity, whatever. Because it was limited edition and there's people that are into Byredo that way. I am not that person. So I think I'm just going to try and sell this one overall. Natasha Denona Golden. I like the mattes in here. I'm not opposed to swapping out a couple of the shimmers. So I'm going to put this one over on here. Sigma Cool Neutrals. I didn't love the mattes in here. I like the shimmers, but when I'm talking about like swapping out shades, I don't feel comfortable enough in my depotting abilities to do mattes, whereas shimmers I feel like are easier to repress. So that's another one that I might try and sell. Moonshroom, like the packaging. I could swap out a shimmer or two in here, so I might put this off to the side. Wait, yes, okay. Yes, that's correct. All right, we're in the right pile. I just got confused. This is the Petit Four in Isolde. Super pretty. I like this one too. I'm gonna put that one over there. Okay, so I'm gonna actually use this bin for this because I don't know why I had those palettes separated out anyway. Okay, so these are my palettes that I pulled out for my Throwback Thursday collab. Am I even in frame? I hope so. Okay, this is Unearthly Devour. I feel like I want like some slightly different mattes in here. I might play around with my Unearthly ones because they are magnetic, so I'm going to move that one over. Moonspell for sure. I think I want to update the shimmers in here just to like a more current formula because this palette is from like 2018, 2017, something like that. Okay, Too Faced Pumpkin Spice. I'm going to leave her as is because I have a sentimental attachment to that palette. This is the Narimi, I think it's Cold Crow or Jackdaw. Super pretty. We're good there. This is, ooh, I don't know if this is, I think this is Withered Wood from Narimi. And then I think this one is Amber. These are stunning. Obviously, I haven't used all of these yet. Okay, and then we have the Adept Cosmetics Unity palette. Absolutely love that one. The lace packaging is not my favorite, but I don't hate it, so. This is Violette Vespertine. It's going in this pile just because of the palettes where I like the packaging, but could swap out some of the shades just because I feel like I could swap out some of the shades. Anyways, this is the new Lightwork Volume 6. I freaking love this. I wanted to do like a really long dedicated video with this one like I did with, I think it was Groundwork, but we didn't. Okay, the rest of this is face stuff, so we're not gonna worry about that. But this is Nomad, Keys, Beachy, and Peachy. I like this one. I'm gonna keep it as is. Okay. All right, we have the Unearthly Cosmetics Night Terror palette. I like the packaging, but I don't love a 9-pan. So I think I'm gonna put this, I'm not sure, but I do like, I'm gonna see if this one's magnetic. If it's magnetic, I might utilize this to like keep some other shade. I don't know. I'm iffy on this one. It's going in the pile, but I might not keep that packaging. I might move stuff around. This one is Horse Girl, like her as is. This is Charmer. This is definitely one, I think all of my Unearthlies, I want to kind of move around, mix up, you know. This is What's Up Beauty Dragon Eye. I think this palette's really pretty, and I like the packaging, so I'm leaving that one as is. Groundwork Blooming Romance, leaving as is. Cyborg Choir, absolutely stunning, leaving as is. Oceano from Cleona, leaving as is. Paleo, leaving as is. This drawer is obviously palettes I like a lot. Simply Posh Coastal, leaving as is. Legend of Ardra, leaving as is. Peach Perfect, leaving as is. And Secret Garden, leaving as is. Okay, so I need to put those palettes back actually. So what I think I want to do is actually utilize this, and these are going to all be palettes. Oh wait, no, I'm keeping this one. Duh. Okay. These are all going to be palettes that I want to possibly play around with mixing, whether it's because I like the packaging or because I like the color story but hate the packaging. So that's going to be that. And then, all right, there we go. Okay. And I can put these palettes back. All right. Okay, so Be Perfect, Carnival Interstellar. I don't know. I feel some type of way about this palette. Like, I seriously love this, even though it's gigantic, and I feel like I really don't need it, but I want to be able to play with it more, and I'm not ready to part ways. So we're just keeping that one. BellaBeauteBar Pastel Garden. This is my perfect pastel palette, but it's so big. I'm gonna put this in a maybe stack, and I think Smoky Garden's gonna join it only because I love this, but I don't reach for it a whole bunch. But I do, you know what, never mind. I'm gonna keep both of these as is because I really like this formula and I think these are perfect, and I don't want to lose the mattes that are in here. Best Mattes is magnetic, so she serves the purpose that I want, and I love the shades in here. So keeping her as is. Ninhydrin is one that I'm open to, of course, swapping out the mattes, but I also might take these shimmers. Like I'm like, I like the packaging, but I don't think I need the packaging in my life, you know? Same with Minka. I think we could play around with these a little bit. Plain Jane as well. I'm okay with playing around with. I also think I might want to, I really like the packaging on this one, but these mattes, I'm also not like, no. Okay, I'm going to put this over here because I'm not quite sure. Sumerian Sunset, I'm keeping in her, all her glory. Same with Flying Fiddles. All these are from Adept, by the way. Okay, now let's talk through Ensley Rain Midwinter Dream. I absolutely love this palette. I'm keeping this as is. Cold Moon. Hate the packaging, but like the palette. So I think we're going to take a look at what we can do with that. Same with this one, but I like the magnetic. I do like that it's magnetic. So it's like, I don't like the look of the packaging, but it's actually really functional. So let me think through that. I really like this palette as is, but I could swap out. I could be okay swapping out some shades. I'm going to keep these over here actually. Flower Moon. I love this one. It is not magnetic. I could probably swap a few of these greens out to make it a perfect palette. So I'll put it over here. This is the Lightwork Volume 5. This is not my favorite of the Lightworks. I feel like Volume 4 and Volume 6 are my favorites, but I'm going to keep this one as is because I do still really like it. This is Lightwork Volume 3. I obviously really liked the highlighters in here. But yeah, this is a fun one. So keeping it just to clarify. Okay, then my sweet friend Brittany Ray gifted me some of these Fantasy Cosmetica ones, and I'm definitely gonna use these intact, but because I haven't yet, but I am not a big fan of the packaging, and I don't love a 9-pan, which is what prevented me from ever picking them up myself. But this color story in particular is beautiful. Once I use them, if there's some that I'm like, no, I can't break up that color story, then I'll leave them as is, but I am going to put this in this pile so I know what options I have. Oh, and I haven't been saying their names. I think the first one was Druid, Fighter, this is Bard. Okay, let's see. This is Sorcerer. And then Warlock. Okay, cool. But I think I've heard great things about their shimmers, so I'm like, you know, if I'm okay to break the gang up, I think we'll be good. All done up. I go back and forth on whether or not I want to keep this palette, but I really like the mattes in here. But would I use it more if I had like special or shimmers? I don't know. It might go over here. Let's do that. Recently de-influenced. I wish I had the magnetic version. I don't, but I am keeping this one intact. Absolutely gorgeous. Stunning. Love that palette. Same with Basic Witch. So pretty. I did buy the new version of Strange and Unusual that is in the magnetic because mine was old anyway, and I wanted their new matte formula in this color story because I love this palette. Cosmic Brushes Neutrals. I like this palette, but I don't love it, so I think I'm just going to declutter it all together, actually. I mean, one of my holy grails. Keeping this one as is. I really like the Longing palette, so we're going to keep her in her color story. Sugar and Grunge isn't available anymore, and I really like these shades, but I'm so scared to, like, mess this up, so I'm going to keep this one as is. Machina, love this color story. I think it's so pretty. So, I mean, I could maybe swap out. I was going to say like one of the shimmers, but nah, it's not worth it. We're going to leave her as is. Surge, I would never risk. I wonder if I could swap out these shimmers. I could probably repress the shimmers. Okay, we're going to put her over here. This is Donnie Darkowitz and Blend Bunny's Little Miss She Never Misses palette. I don't love this color story. I like the pastel shades down here, but that's, and like a couple of the shimmers, but it's just not my perfect color story, so I'm gonna actually declutter this one. We have the Ace Beauté Paletopoli, one of my favorite palettes of all time, keeping her as is. This is the Danessa Myricks Lightwork Volume 4 I mentioned earlier, one of my favorite palettes of all time, keeping her. Blend Bunny Lore. Yeah, I like this color story. We're keeping her intact. Okay, and then my Esom Cosmetics palettes. I have, which one are you? This is the #1 Balance. Just like perfect neutral color stories that complement each other in a matte and shimmer version. This is #2 Intensity, and they're so easy to travel with, and I just really like the ease of use with these. I've debated decluttering these quite a few times because I'm like, I don't need it, but I really do like it, so we're keeping it. This is Choi's Beauty, the Phalaenopsis palette. I don't think I said that correctly, but this is really pretty, and we are keeping her intact. Okay. That's shelf #1. We go to shelf #2 now. Okay, sorry, I realized on that last clip that we were pretty much out of frame. I'm hoping that this new setup is better. Okay, this Il Makiage and Kathleen Light's Disco Fox palette, I can't explain it, but I love it. But see, okay, having this is what makes me question having the Esom palettes. Like, do I need both? Anyways, whatever. Doesn't matter. For right now, I'm not messing with this. We're just focusing on packaging. I'm going to go through my melt palettes. I did update all of these melt palettes, so if they look a little different, because I changed out the shimmers. I kept all the mattes because I love the melt mattes, but I changed out the shimmers. So this is Gemini remixed a la me. Here is my version of the Rust palette. I think I did Smoke Sessions. Yeah, I changed a few of the shimmers in Smoke Sessions. Brunette. Fatally Yours I didn't mess with because it's all matte. Sorry, that covered it. Okay, Gemini 2. I actually really love how this one came out, but anyways, okay. 420, I think I just changed the one shimmer shade. We have Muerte, absolutely beautiful. I wasn't lying when I said I pretty much redid all of my melt palettes. Here's one I didn't redo. This is Electrip. I actually really like the shimmers in here, and I didn't want to get rid of them. So there we go. Here is Vita. I also didn't redo Mary Jane because I feel like this is a slightly different shimmer formula, but maybe I will. And then here's Millennial Pinks. Here is the Impulsive palette. Sorry, it has the paper. I redid. This one is basically the Adept and Heather Austin like shimmers, and a few other shimmers in here, but okay. She's in Parties I definitely redid. Radioactive I did not redo. Blueprint I don't think I redid. No, although I kind of want to swap out that shade, so I think I'm going to add that to the... What was the other one? Should I just add Electrip while I'm at it? Let's double check Electrip. See, I feel like I really liked all the shimmers in here. Yeah, I don't... this one's going to stay. Christmas Town, I think I redid one shade. Yeah, just that shade, because I liked the other shimmers, just that shimmer. And then Halloween Town... I just redid that shimmer because, again, liked the other shimmers in here. Okay. Cool. So now this is my, like, Lethal Cosmetics Night Flower. I just put it in different packaging because I like that packaging. And then we'll keep with the Lethal Cosmetics theme. So this is Lethal is Dead. I moved some of my Wildflower shades and Latrice is Dead collab shades. I moved them around. And so this is my version, and I think this is really pretty, and I really want to play with it. And then this is Teresa's Lethal, same thing. I moved some shades around, swapped some stuff out, but love. Okay, here are two palettes I was gifted from Haggard Cosmetics. I really like them, and I really like their color stories as 5 pans, so they're gonna stay intact. All right, so I picked this up from my friend. Her name on Instagram is Highly Hazel. She was selling this, so I purchased it. But this is the first Izamaya industrial palette. I've used it once. I really want to play with it a little bit more, but this is also industrial too, which is one of my favorite palettes of all time. Now, the packaging is like cool in theory, but in like practicality of storing them, like I can't store these. Like I despise the packaging for that reason, but I really like the shades, and most, if not all, the shades are shimmer shades. So I think I'm gonna try and put them in other palettes. I might try and specifically put them in my Viseart palettes so that they can have the magnetic pans and like be able to be moved around. But anyways, this is the Lunar Beauty 12 Days of Lunar palette. I really like all the shades in here. We're keeping her. This is Siren Sunset. I really like all of these shades as well. Okay, Life's a Drag Facelift. I absolutely love and adore this palette. Part of me is like, but could I swap out the shimmers in the middle for something a little more special? But to be honest, if I reach for this palette, I'm just using the mattes, and then I pull in single shadows anyway. So I don't know. I think I'm gonna leave that intact for now. Okay, and then we have Gourmand Girls Nightshade. I really think this palette is pretty, so we'll leave her in as is. Silent Night, absolutely love this color story, leaving as is. And then Haunted, another beautiful color story that I will be leaving as is. Okay, then we're gonna talk about Fool Fantasy. I really like this color story. It's a very pretty, like half neutral, muted color story. This is Moonspell Volume 2. This is such a fun color story, but I do feel like I could update a couple of these shimmers and feel like more in love with it. So I think I'm gonna put this. And then this is Eternal Eclipse. I had to swatch these because I was like, how do I feel about these shimmers? But I think they're pretty and they feel good still. So I'm gonna leave this one intact. All right, and then we have Nude Prism, which I am not touching this one. Absolutely beautiful, every shade is perfect. And let's go through my Huda Beauty. I like feel a little bit like a collector of these holiday releases from Huda Beauty. So I think I'm gonna leave these all intact. I very rarely reach around, but see, like, look how many neutrals I have. I really don't need those Esom palettes, do I? Okay. All right, next we have Glamlight. Of all of the horror releases, I feel like this one was my favorite. I really liked these shades right here, but as an overall color story, I just don't see myself reaching for this all that often. So I think I'm gonna put it in our pile to mess with. Okay, and then we have Rick and Morty. I lusted after this palette so bad. Got it, and I've used it one time, but it has really pretty neons. I'm not like a Rick and Morty fan, so I could take or leave the packaging, but I really like the color story. It's such a fun color story. But okay, I'm gonna keep this one for now because I don't know. I think I want to play with that more. Okay, second shelf done. One more shelf, but then I have like the floor to go. Oh gosh, okay, here we go. Okay, last shelf, second to last like area of palettes. This is the Sugar Rock. I think it's called the like Extravaganza palette, but I feel like they're all called the Extravaganza, but this is the purple one. I haven't even used this yet. Sad. But I'm gonna keep this obviously as is because I haven't even tested it out. The kind of similar packaging story with Izamaya where it's like raised. So, but this one stacks better. So it's not as raised, I guess. Then we have the Sigma Little Mermaid palette. I really like this palette a lot. So keeping her as is. Fairy Tale Fairies is one of my favorite palettes of all time, and it has a lot of pastel shades. So then I'm like back to, do I also need to have the Pastel Garden when that one is not magnetic? Because there's a lot of really pretty shimmer shades in here that I could absolutely repurpose in other palettes. And I think when I had this palette, I said that this like takes away the need for any other pastel palette, which it does, but I feel like I prefer as like its own standalone palette. I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna keep Fairy Tale Fairies intact, and I am gonna put this off to the side. Or you know what, I'll put it over here, and if we do something with it, cool. If not, I'll figure that out. This is Citrus Punch. I absolutely love this palette. I know a lot of people got hard pan, and I didn't feel like I did. I'm like, while I'm here, let me just test and see if we have hard pan. I don't think I have hard pan in this one yet. But yeah, keeping Citrus Punch. Aurora Lights, I love this color story. It's so fun. Keeping her intact as well. Cozy Cabin is another one that I'm obsessed with. And then Genuine Gems. I've debated this one, like if I want to play around with the color story, but I don't think I do. I think I like it as is. Okay, this is another Cheery Up palette. I don't know which one this is. I haven't even used it yet, but super pretty. Natasha Denona Mini Nude. I loved this. I brought this on my honeymoon, and it was such a pretty palette, but this shade broke, and so I've kept this saying like, oh, it's a perfect travel palette, but I never travel with it because I'm scared that shade's gonna break more. So I'm gonna move this one. I might take some of these shimmers and put them in another palette, so I'm gonna put this over here. Then we have, this is another Narimi palette. I think this is like ashes, something like that. I don't know. I haven't used it yet. My white came broken, but I tried to repress it. This is the Exotic Sheep, I think is the name of this one from Narimi. Such a pretty color story. And then this is Night Spider. Another gorgeous color story. Absolutely love. Okay, so then we have Shroud. It's Freaking Bats. I don't think Shroud is like even a brand anymore, but this was their collab with Batty Bean. I did really like the shimmers and mattes in this palette, so I think I'm gonna keep this one as is. This is Nomad Ghost Town USA. This palette is everything. Oh my god, okay. I love the shades. I love the packaging. I love it. So staying intact, which I guess I wasn't paying attention to, like, no, I was. There's some palettes where I hate the packaging and I feel like, okay, no, I think we're good. All right, then we have Nomad Haunted Europe, another one where I love the packaging, love the colors. I mean, do I love the color story? I feel like a couple of these shades are not my favorite shimmers. Let me try this. I have the original one. I don't know if they've redone the formula. No, those shimmers are pretty opaque. Okay. We'll keep that one as is. All right, this is one of the newest Nomad palettes. This is the Fuji, well, this is the newest Nomad palette at the time of filming this. Fuji Five Lakes, gorgeous. Only used her once, need to play with her more. Okay, one of my favorite Nomad palettes, this is the Amore y Morte, the Verona Love and Death palette. I think I had the unpopular opinion that I loved this palette. This palette could benefit with like one or two of these shades going away. So maybe I will play around with this one, just give it a little bit more variety. Okay, this is New Zealand Stargazing from Nomad. I love these multi-chromes, and I don't hate the matte color story, but the matte color story is not my favorite. And I do really like the packaging, but I do feel like I have other space packaging, so like if I wanted to move the multi-chromes in here to other palettes, I could do that. So I'm gonna move that one to over there. And then we have Hudson Valley. I just think this is the perfect like fall palette. It does have like a red matte, which, you know, I'm not all about that. So then I'm like, oh, could I put like another shimmer in there instead? But then that'll ruin the like matte, and then like middle shimmer, which I think will bug me. So we'll leave that one intact. All right, then we have Fête de Provence. This is the palette. I'm wondering if I change out that purple shade. I think I'm going to. Okay, so we'll put that one over there. All right, we have the Natasha Denona Glam palette. I was thinking I was gonna want to change the shimmers on here, but I don't think I do. This is like not her newer shimmer formula, but I still feel like these hold up. I don't know if you can even, if my hand is even in focus, but they're very shiny, very metallic, so I think I am gonna leave that one as is. The Sunrise palette, I don't love like some of these shimmer shades, so I am gonna try and play around with that one. Retro Glam, I like the shimmers in here more than I like the mattes, but I'm not like repressing mattes. So what would I change with this color story besides like add more shimmers to it, which I don't think is the answer. So I'm gonna keep this one intact. I might just move around my Natasha Denona, like move some of the mattes around. I think I'm gonna do that. I'm actually gonna, Glam I'm gonna keep together because that's like a perfect palette. I'm gonna put these off to the side to just move the pans around in my Natasha Denona palette since they're magnetic. This is the Trio Chrome. I did redo the shimmers in here to make them a little bit more current. And then this is the Monteverde Cloud Forest from Nomad. I used to have beef with this palette. Now I like it, but I also feel like I could swap out a couple of green shimmers and like want to use it more. So I'm gonna put this palette over here. This is getting bigger. This is the Fire and Ice. It's one of my favorite palettes from Nomad, so I'm gonna leave this one as is. I can't mess with the Christmas and Christmas Eve palettes from Odin's Eye. They're gonna stay exactly as they were meant to. Okay, this is my friend Annette's first collab with Odin's Eye. This is Giant Wolves, and I love this palette, but I don't reach for it. And partially because it's like limited edition and blah, blah, blah. Anyways, I'm going to put this over here because I think there's shades in there that I want to steal. This Mighty Monster palette, the matte color story is just not something I vibe with as much, but I really like all of the shimmers in here. So I am going to put this one over here as well. This is the Elena palette from Shall We Makeup. I just used this for the first time and I loved how the look came out. So keeping this one as is. This is the Shall We Makeup collab with Freya 86, the Somber Garden. One of my shades came broken, but I repressed it. Anyways, love this color story. Haven't used it yet, so keeping intact. Natasha Denona, I Need a Warm. I think do I want to mess with this? I don't think I'm ready to mess with this one yet. This is my newest Natasha Denona palette, so I'm going to keep her intact. Xenon, I feel like can go join its friends and we can maybe move some shades around or like take out maybe a couple of the silver shimmers and put like brighter shimmers in there. I don't know. So I'm gonna just put all the Natasha Denona ones that I'm playing with over there. This is I Need a Nude. This is another color story that I do feel like is perfect for what it is. Or do I? I'm gonna put an I Need a Nude over there. Okay, here's Retro. This one is perfect for what it is. I really like this color story, so I'm gonna leave that one as is. Same with Yucca. I think she's beautiful. And then last we have up is the Bronze, which I am going to put over there because I do feel like we could maybe update some of the shimmers or move them around. Okay, now Too Faced Italian Spritz. I really like this palette. I'm going to leave her intact. I don't know. I like it the way it is. This is a real throwback. This is the Clover palette. I haven't used this palette in like a very, very, very long time. But when I like fell in love with what's the new one called? Aptly in Love. I pulled out some old ones and then I even bought some. So like I didn't have gingerbread extra spicy. I bought this on Mercari. So I haven't even used this yet. And then I also bought Cinnamon Swirl, which I did use and I loved. So I'm going to keep this one intact. And then this is Gingerbread Spice. Super old, but still pretty. And then this was the old Too Faced Sweet Peach, which is another classic. So, okay, leaving those intact though, because I don't know, just feels like what sacrilege not to. Okay, so then we're almost done. One more section. All right, last section, we're almost done. I'm gonna start with this Wicked Widow Graveyard Smash. I really like this palette. I think this is a fun color story. It's very Halloween-y. I'm out of breath from carrying these all over, so I'm going to leave this one intact because I love the packaging, love the shades. This is from What's Up Beauty. This is the Geodes palette. They gifted this to me. I haven't had a chance to use it yet, but I do think it's really pretty, so obviously leaving intact until I get a chance to try her out. And then, I kind of said this earlier, but all of my Unearthly palette, well, not this one. Maybe this one. All of my Unearthly palettes, I am going to look at moving the shades around since the pans are magnetic, especially this one because Homegirl and I just do not vibe. But Don't Be Jelly, There we go. I'm just trying to make perfect color stories for me because I want my makeup collection to be used more. I do really like this. Are there any shades in here that I'd really move around? No, I don't think so. This one's gonna stay as is. I'm gonna just make Fall Magic stay as is because I don't think I want to mess with this one. Yeah, I like this color story, so this one's gonna stay as is too. Okay, Sorcerer's Smoke. You know, this is another one with a perfect color story, so she's gonna stay as is. All right, Get Groovy. We'll put over here. Surrender. Put over, I think I like this color story. Those two shades are the same. I'll put this over here. Okay, and then these palettes from Unearthly are not magnetic, and I already messed around with some of the shimmer shades, so like that shade in particular I repanned with a different shade, but this is Warms My Blood, and then this is 1964. I don't think, oh, I redid that shade. Any of the shades that were like hard panned or whatever, dried out, I just repressed those in these. This is The Weirdos, yes. And then last, this is So Strange. There we go. Okay, this one didn't actually have any hard pans, so that one's intact. Okay, and then all of my Viseart palettes, I think what I want to do with my Viseart palettes is put them all, like I have most of the shades labeled, and like figure out where there's duplicate shades, and then just like put like and just identify what shades I want to keep. I don't know how to explain it, but I just think there's opportunity for all of these Viseart palettes to like be consolidated. So this is Paris Edit. I'm like, let me just show you all these though while we're here. This is the Violette Étendue. I actually think I'm gonna leave this one intact because I'm gonna leave this one intact, but I want it to be a part of this broader Viseart what am I trying to say? Viseart project. Do I really want to open all these? Oh, this one I'll show you. This is Coyish Étendue. I have switched out the shades with a lot of the single shadows from Half Magic Beauty. So there's some other shimmer shades in here. And then, let's see. I don't think I'm going to show you all these. Okay, so we have Minxette Étendue, Cashmere Étendue. We got the Le Marais Étendue. This is Petite Matte's Neutral. This is the Cashmere Charmeuse. Since this one's not on the outside, we'll show you what that one looks like. I really do like this palette, color story, but I just think like what I want is to be able to do more build your own palette. So any shades that I love that are not in magnetic packaging, I want to try and get in magnetic packaging, or if it's like a palette that I really love the packaging of the palette and it's not magnetic, try to get it to a point where it's the perfect palette for me. But this is Warm Edit. Oh my gosh. All right, let's see. This is Rosé Edit. Out of frame. This whole video has probably been out of frame. Dark Edit. All right, then we have Soleil La Plage. La Plage. Sorry, that was bad. Okay, Petite Shimmers Koi. Then we have Petit Pro Solstice, Petit Pro Chou Chou. I'm going to talk about this really fast, but the Paris Etoile palette, this is like one of my like least used Viseart palettes. It's just not a color story that screams to me, but I love the packaging. So that's what I also want to look at is there an opportunity to just like swap some of these out? This is like all the Petit Fours that I have. There are so many Petit Fours. Okay, but anyways, this one's Tyrian, just to, there you go. I also don't use quads, but I kind of like having quads from like a travel perspective. But this is Bijouette Étendue. This is the Petite Matte's Cool Original. There we go. So yeah, we got so many. I'm sorry Viseart, but like this is too many. This is the Petit Shimmers Sultry Muse. I do think these are pretty, but I don't know that I want like an all shimmer palette from Viseart. So is there an opportunity to do something different? These are the Petite Matte's Dark. I don't know where all this red eyeshadow came from on my hand. More Petit Fours. There we go. And then we have more of the Petit Pros and the Etoiles. Okay, there we go. And then we have Spritz Edit, Petite Matte's Cool, Petite Matte Editorial Brights. Anyways, that's everything. I have a lot to work on. Pretty much here over is in project mode. But anyways, let me know what you thought of this video. If you want to see the next parts as I revisit continuing to declutter, I'm trying to get to 100 or less palettes, which means like 50% of my collection has to go, but I'm also a hoarder, so we'll see what happens. Anyways, stay tuned.